Yeah. Yeah.
So it's an interesting journey.
Yeah. For the face of the full disclaimer, is my birthday next Wednesday. I'm taking a day off, but it's not because I'm scared, and it's not because I'm confronted. It's a gift to myself on my birthday. I just want to disclaim it now.
Fully noted.
Okay, we'll chat, but I just wanted to be very transparent in order not to create stories like, oh, but I didn't show up as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, what we're going to do today is we're only going to be on for an hour, just on an hour, because I'm going to give you guys some time back because I've got to attend an urgent meeting, and normally Donna would have done this, but because of the time zone, she can't make it. It's a bit late for her. So today, I thought what we could do is we've got some questions, but you know, we've got some from Sandy and Stacey's team, and we've got Baya's
Questions.
Yeah,
They are there. They're for sure there. Yeah.
So I thought what we could do is we could play a little game, right? Because the questions are here, so we could test this out a little bit, right? Okay. So we're in week 8, yes?
Oh my God, already week 8. Okay.
I know, right? Okay. So this is something we already discussed today. Kawa is also coming, but he doesn't have any questions today. So I thought we could play a bit of a game, right?
Okay.
Because remember, it's about prompting, and this is also going to teach you to prompt on your chat GPT a little bit, right? So we're going to play a few things today. Yes.
Okay, great.
I thought that if everybody opens chat GPT, right?
Great.
We could play the prompting game. Either we can put it into chat GPT, that everybody puts it in and prompts, and the best answer comes through, so that we actually start working with technology today a little bit and seeing how it works. So has everybody on the call got chat GPT set up?
Yeah. Are we setting up a new chat? We're setting up a brand new chat.
Yes, let's set up a brand new chat. So this is the screen. So today we're playing games, right? A little bit, right? So you can see here, I've got mine here, chips, right? So you can see here, I'm registered in. I don't have the upgrade. I think Bear has got the upgrade. I've got some other things that are added in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with Bear's question. Okay, so we're going to prompt a little bit,
Okay.
Bear. So you're going to share your screen because the team is going to help. We're all going to help put in the right questions to see what we can get up with some answers, right? So share your screen.
Well, okay. Yes, we have a chat for the but we can do a brand new one. Not a problem. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, let me just share the screen, and it is here. Okay. Oh, it says please stand by while we're checking your browser. What's that? Hang on a second.
I'm checking that you're not a bot.
A robot.
Yes, does everybody open chat GPT?
Okay, I'm
on
here.
the call, have you opened it? Give us a
new
thumbs up if you don't have your camera on. Okay, sweet. Right. Okay, so Baya's question today is, how do I add more value to the women in my community, right? Yes? How do I add value to the participants?
So the question is, we are running an amazing summit, Evolution Women Entrepreneur Summit, this weekend. Inside that, we're running Evolution Women Entrepreneurs Awards, which also Sandy is part of, right? Because she's a nominee. And inside the ticket of the summit, of course, we want to have them as like, how do I build more value and trust with the new women who are coming to the summit and also the award nominees?
Okay, right.
Does it make sense, that question?
It totally does. So this is the web page over here. So let's prompt GPT a little bit. Okay. So Kawa, you're the first person up. What kind of question do you think we should be asking it? Are you here?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Why?
No, I have a problem with unmuting. Okay, I don't see Bea's.
Bea, share your screen.
Oh, you want me to share the screen? Yeah. Okay. Again.
Okay. So
I keep sharing the screen. Here it is. Your chat.
Okay. So basically, we want to find out how we give more value to people inside our community, right? So this applies for you too, Kawa, right? Because it's the same thing. Like I'm getting people to join my community. How do I add, what are some tips and techniques to add more to my community or add more value? But first thing we've got to do is we've got to prime this thing and we've got to tell it what we're doing, right? So you're the king of priming. So give us a question.
So, okay, the question will be like, I think she needs to start with telling the chat GPT what kind of community it is, the target audience.
Okay.
I will start with that. This is my like target audience. I want to give them, like, I start like that. I write a lot of information and then I ask question at the end.
Okay, so Bea, let's go. So we have a community of entrepreneurial women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who basically want to create magic, make the impossible happen, change the world. What else, Bear? Make the impossible happen, change the world, and fulfill their purpose. Yeah, there we go. Fulfill their purpose.
Fulfill their... Right?
Purpose.
Shall I say the evolutionary entrepreneurs?
Yes, they are evolutionary. They're compassionate. They're passionate. You can say it like any amazing word, right? I mean, you know, they're basically they're not afraid to make changes in the world. They want to courageous. They're not afraid to make changes in the world. They want to set an example and lead from the front. Okay, so for example, is there anything else?
You could also share your website. It can read the website.
Can it read a website?
Yeah,
so
actually I did it in the morning. I shared, like, it said it has this colors, and I wanted to know like if I could,
Which
if I
website
could improve on it.
Which website should I share?
Hold on, we'll get to the pain points now. So we're describing our community first, right? So say, do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So Donna, what did you ask ChatGPT to get this? Add values to your summit?
I just asked a quick, very simple question. I am running a summit. This is what people will discover and experience, and then I just copied some of the wording from the website, and then I put, how can I add more value to the event that people attend?
Okay, so I don't think it's about adding value to the event. So maybe let's because it's the value to the people who in the community. So we are gonna, we are going to tell them we're running an event, right? So I'm running a live summit this weekend. This is the web page. What are your main takeaways from this web page? Something like that.
I'm going to give it the web page. Hang on. You put it here, right? So I'm just going to copy.
I put it in the chat for everybody to look at.
Okay, great.
Yep. Because what we're doing now is we're priming them. So Donna, you did a quick prime. So it gives you some stuff, right? Which is cool.
Shall I put enter? Shall I put enter now?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Well, I would potentially ask a question.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. So type in,
Thank you
for sharing that. So say, what are your biggest takeaways, or what did you discover from the, or maybe not discover, like Kawa, help me out here. What is your takeaway from this webpage? Oh, you see registration page for la 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 la.
From the summit webpage, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we'll see.
It's a little slow. Okay, because the point is here is that we
He's still
adopt-
writing because he's writing.
because he's thinking. He's thinking a lot.
It appears to be a registration page. Okay.
Great. Nice.
He's really thinking because usually he's very fast.
It's remember the people in the US are awake now and they're using it. So the page. Okay. So those of you that have
Well
just
designed.
joined, what we're doing is we're priming ChatGPT. We're playing a game because the questions are in here and we're going to answer some of the questions, but it's also to teach you guys to start priming and asking better questions while you're working with your stuff. And I think this is an example of really a good thing to do because, you know, obviously, if this bores you, you're welcome to jump off, but it would be good to participate and utilize it because at the end of the day, you know, one of the things here is we definitely want to add more value to our communities. We want to get information about customer journeys, what potential awards have been there. I would like you guys to start asking ChatGPT some of your questions, and then we've got something to talk about, right? Because this is the point here. The point is that you can ask me, but you can also ask other formats, right? And I think it's an interesting thing because like Donna just dropped that in, you could say, Donna, we're running pin host meetings, and it could be that you're feeling like a little bit stale in your thing. What kind of suggestions would you be able to give me? But it's about priming it, right? And giving
So
it.
shall I say, what is your takeaway from the summit webpage now?
No, probably
You
not.
kind of already gave me the takeaway.
Yeah.
I would put something more in that and say, like, what's your takeaway with it? I used to go with a big question from the beginning, like,
Yeah.
what do you think I could improve? And then based on the answer it gives me, I go into detail.
I don't think we want to improve the web page, but we want to then go from
No, what
and
do you
yeah.
think? Yeah, improve
This is
So I think
one of the events that we are running for our community to add value to them. So this is where we're going, Bayer. So
exactly. So that's the whole, like the summit is not a question right now because it's like a community experience.
but we're trying to get it to understand that you're giving value already, right? So change this question here that you've got there and say, this is one of the value adds that we give to our woman on Evolutionary Woman, right?
value adds.
That we add to our GFU community or our evolutionary community, right? Now, Diane asked a great question in the chat earlier. She said, what are the pain points, right? So what you could do here is you could say, the reason that many women join our community is what? Why did they join your community?
To increase their power to make an impact, to be more aligned with their purpose and connect with other evolutionary women, right?
Right, so
Right.
put it there. So, because our big initial question is around community, right? So this is kind of covering, it's not the pain point, but it's covering why people join the community, right? So it's still kind of in that space. Connect to other
evolutionary entrepreneurs around the world, right?
I would say entrepreneurial women around the world.
Oh, yeah, entrepreneur around the world.
Yeah.
World at the same time
Mm-hmm.
to increase their energy. It's true, right? Increase their
create-
energy, vitality, joy, fulfillment,
Mm-hmm.
and flow.
Yeah. Yep. Do you understand? So kind of go there. Does that make sense or whatever? Because remember, you're priming it every time. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay. And then the next question after this, I wouldn't give it 2 question marks.
Oh, he would just go
But rude.
crazy.
Okay, so the next thing that you could start doing, because this is really, it's not about really the answer, it's about that it's regurgitating back to you so that it's understanding what you're saying. So now it's about, I would like to, besides running a quarterly summit, I would like to find ways to add more value to women in this community, right?
Besides, right?
Yeah, something like that. I mean, Kawa, do you have another suggestion? Does anybody else have another suggestion?
Like this. I would like
Yeah.
to find more, what did you say, opportunities?
More value.
To create more value or to give more value? Like,
I would like to create more value for the women in my community. So guys, it's not only for the event. So Stacey, you did something similar where you typed in activities you can hold leading up to the event. Do you see what I mean? So this is something that you could potentially look at for yours. But what we're trying to do is we're priming it on the event, because that's something that's happening now. It can read the web page, it can go joop, 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 right? But what we actually wanting to ask it is, I want to find other ways to add value to my women entrepreneurs. What else can I do? So you could say, besides running a global summit, running masterclasses, what else?
My question was really, the specific question was, how do I add more value? How do we build up on the summit instead of going from nothing? So this is not about doing nothing, right? Michelle, this is about how do I add more value after the summit?
Okay.
So after the summit, how do we create more trust and more connection with women from the summit and the awards, right?
Okay, so write that then.
So how do we, or what can we do?
What suggestions do you have? I would say that, because you want to prompt out some suggestions. What suggestions do you have?
No?
For me to add more value?
To the women who will participate, more value to the women who will participate
in the summit,
and
that it's also the people in your community, right? Participate.
Well, right now it's the women at the summit, right? Okay. Right now. So the happen is usually we do the summit and then we don't have the strategy afterwards. Inside the ticket where we gave them for the summit, right? We have the roundtables and we have the workshop, but I'm just looking, how can it be more flowing, right? What are the other suggestions, right?
So maybe before you ask the question, say that exactly point. So say, by attending the summit, the value adds that we give the women entrepreneurs would be blah, blah, whatever that is, right?
Value we already give them in the ticket, right?
Yeah.
Ticket is, and shall I just copy it?
Yeah, just copy it. That's why you have a page that's already pulled. So you don't have stuff.
So I can go and get the ticket. It's here. So this is what we already have, right? Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Then take that next sentence away. So actually, if you go into the chat, Diane's got some quite nice words there. How do I build upon the experience of the summit gathering? How do I enlarge the value received and add more value that will lead to greater engagement and raving fans?
Okay, so let me just share. I just need to go. So what should I write now in the chat?
Just copy Diane's words. I mean, guys, this is the thing. You guys have to start using this more often, right? So that
I do. I'm using it, but you training me use it on another level, right?
Yeah.
So shall I just press enter because you're teaching me now?
No,
shall I just
what I want you to do, because now you've just said by attending this one, right? Now you had a question at the bottom of this after what you had in there.
You said delete it. Do you want me to put it there?
No, that's fine. Leave it. Then just go back and copy Diane's questions and put those in.
Okay, I'm going to now copy Diane's question. Okay.
Put it in the same booch.
Diane's question. I need to go to the chat, right?
Yes, that you don't
How
have to.
do I build this one? How do I build up on an experience, that one,
Yeah, just do the first question.
that one.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, that one, right?
Well, all of them is fine, right? And then
And I
also,
will take this one.
okay,
Yeah.
how do we build up on the experience of the summit gathering? And then instead of the question mark right there, take the question mark away and say, in the next few weeks after
Yes.
the summit. So you're giving it a
Yeah.
bit of a timeline, you know,
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good.
question mark.
Okay.
Okay, hit it. And let's see what it comes up with. But guys, this is the point here. And, you know, I wanted to do this today because, you know, I think even for sometimes when you guys are working with Roger or you're working with Donna or you're working with myself, you know, sometimes, no offense, we're a little bit lazy asking people questions because we kind of like, now, ChatGPT is exactly the same kind of format as a mentor, right? You want to be getting the best out of them because you're actually almost priming them and saying, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing it, and this is what I'm looking for. But this can save you guys a whole bunch of time. So, I mean, you may not like what it says, but you might get something out of that. So if you take a look, right? Now, one of the things that Sarah G always says to us is she says, at one of our summits, which we haven't done yet, is that we should have an ability to network. So how do we drive networking after it? Because most of the women want to collaborate and network, right? So perhaps you can create on your Buddy Boss, that your system, an open group where they can connect, maybe. I don't know what the first one was. Sorry, I was talking and I didn't see it type up. So what was number one?
Yeah.
Number one, follow up. Okay. So, you know, the point is here, these are a little bit like weak, right? So now what I would do is I would use Diane's other two questions. I would say, thanks, but how do I enlarge the value received and add more value? Because you know what I mean? Do you see what I mean? So I would take the balance of the two questions. I kind of split it out and pull information out because some of this, okay, network is a thing, you know? Okay, how do I create networking? Yeah.
Okay,
So,
good.
yeah. Right. So now this is giving you a little bit more stuff, maybe a follow-up survey, right? With a prize or something, some content, what have you. So, you know, you can also see there access to the speakers. Maybe it would be, you know, like we were talking about today. Right. Donna asked the question, how can I add more trust and value to my clients after they've attended my event? And it's coming similarly, follow up with personalized communication, post-event resources, continuing to engage with attendees, offer exclusive benefits, share success stories, right? And then you hit the last one, you know, because I think Diane asked 3 questions. I can't remember if you put both of them in. But do you see, now it's giving you some meat that you can actually go, okay, all right, now you can build it, because you could say, okay, could you put this into a journey for the next 12 weeks? That's really what Kawa does, right? He says, this is everything you've given me. Could you put this into an effective customer journey that would help me deliver this in the next 12 weeks? I mean,
Shall I ask it? Shall I ask it?
Yeah. Thank you for
Okay.
all this information. Could you put this into an effective customer journey that spans over the next 12 weeks with a timeline or something? What did you say, Kawa, the other day? You said with a detailed breakdown on timeline.
Detail. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, thank you for the information. Can you put this?
Yeah, into a detailed
Wow.
Effective and detailed
plan.
Customer journey plan.
Yeah.
Oh, detailed customer journey. Yeah.
Detailed customer journey plan.
Customer journeys that I can implement over the next 12 weeks.
Next 2 months, right?
Or next 6 weeks.
6 weeks, better. Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
Shall I press yes?
Yeah, why not? What's the worst it can do? Say, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. Okay, so do you see this? Now, this is why the prompting is so important. You know, Now, this is good because it's saying, okay, what is your follow-up and email and what's your survey, right? Okay, so you could potentially in your email, you could put a success story and you could say, connect with my mentors here. You could say, connect with your community for a networking event. So you can take the points they've used above and go, oh, I like that. How can I use that in this? So this is not the rule, guys. This is like giving you a base frame to say, oh, I didn't have to spend 10 hours thinking about it.
Yeah. So the journey we had, we have created for now after the summit that we want to improve what kind of works. From the summit, what we put in the tickets is the roundtable. But the roundtable is really, I just felt, it's for me to give them high value, high impact coaching. But I just felt there was a disconnect between being at the summit as a community and then coming to a roundtable is just asking them for, I don't think it's right. Right. I think it needs to come later. I think it will be more like a forum for the summit to bring and share the learning, connect with other attendees, and then like implement, right, the learnings and the connections. I think that's what's still building the trust from to kind of metabolize all the experience and the learnings and the growth from the summit so they can implement it in their life.
Exactly. I mean, one of the things that I did, right, just to give you an example, is I kind of said, okay, so what I did is I actually pasted in very similar to Diane, and I pasted in, these are the problems, right? Problem 1, problem 2. This is my suggestion on solving it. What would you give me as a suggestion to address this problem, right? So for example, if my problem is that somebody is looking for mentoring or whatever, or they want to have groups or they want to find the right, collaboration, what should I be putting together? And actually it gave me some pretty decent things to just think about, right? So for example, like best practices of collaboration, or it said things like a blueprint, a training program, mentoring matching, or something like that, mentor community, or something like that, where keep feeding it the questions, and that's the catch here, because if you keep putting stuff in, it remembers the last time you did this. So I did this over a couple of days. I think Kawa does the same thing. He doesn't get rid of his stuff and he just keeps going back and back and back. But here you can say, well, I really like what you said in week 1 and week 6, but I think, do you have a different suggestion for week 2 and 3, right? Because I'm not really comfortable with that. It will give you something else to think about, right? What you could do, Bea, now that you've got the score app, you could actually put a quiz in, right? Which is remember with your Cinderella thing. Remember when Daniel Priestley at the summit was talking about in the score app, when you design the quiz?
Yes.
Right? That there's a Cinderella question, which is the shoe that fits, for people, because remember, everybody at your summit is not necessarily the person that you want to bring into your calibration course, right?
Yeah.
So what is the Cinderella question? And you could, in week 1 over there, just go up or down or whichever way. So here you've got follow-up and survey. Instead of doing a survey, you could offer them a free quiz, right, that guides them to their next step, for example. So yes, of course, we're going to send a follow-up email. We always do that. But what you could say to ChatGPT here is, in week 1, we found emails aren't as effective. What are the other suggestions that you could give me to create an interaction with this? So potentially it would be a free login into your system and watch a few videos. Or do you see, if you take everything that you do well, I know I'm giving you a brain ache, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm just trying to be practical, right, as well. And what I personally like, what I like you and and I, when women come to the summit, they get so much inspiration, right, and transformation and like insight. What they love is to connect with each other and share, maybe create a sharing for. I think what I'm trying to get, I don't think the roundtable maybe is the next best things. They have it still on the ticket. We need to create a month's journey, but not the week after the summit. I think it's just like not right. I think we need to bring them to kind of like a sharing.
They want a network almost, or they want to come to a sharing. So maybe it's like we talked about this morning, coffee with Bea, right? You get a personalized session where I'm connecting all of you, or we're having all of our mentors come on a call where you can touch base and you can ask them all a question, or something like that, where what do they want? They want to share their inspiration and they're so excited, but there's this, what do I do next? So it could be, take this quiz and see whether you want to join this, or this. Something like
Yeah.
that. You could do that.
Yeah. So what really worked last time, I want to pick up everyone's ideas, when women came after the summit to the forum and they shared, and they could just share, and then we could hear, this one wants to grow, this one wants to create connection, this one is confronting with this. And then we knew how to send them from like this gathering to the next space, but it wasn't like a roundtable coaching, because I don't think the roundtable is right after the summit. I feel a huge disconnect with that, because roundtable in Genius U connection is about coaching, right? And mentoring, and they're not a request for that right now.
100%. So I'm not saying do a founders roundtable. I didn't say
And
No,
that.
I'm just staying with you, but that's why I'm just boggling, because we put it in the ticket. But I think we need to
Suggestion.
wait for them to use the value of the ticket, and they don't have to consume it the first week after the summit. We don't have to push them. I'm just trying to get also everyone's ideas when you organize the summits, you know.
However, you suggestion, and Diane put
Yeah,
in the chat also.
Priming is very important. So maybe put up a quiz or something after the summit. And when you get like all people's, some quiz that asks about people's problems, directly personalized. And then you put it in kind of, say you have like women that have, like they want to start something, like I'm just taking out, I don't know much about your community, but they want to start their own business. That's their biggest problem. And you have like 5, 6 women that you can see that on the quiz that's their problem. And you can put it like in ChatGPT later on and say, okay, this group have this problem. What could be a solution to help them?
What you could also do, Bayer, is I like that. So you like, I think what you need to be doing is making it easier. What about, now this is a off the wall thing, what about if you get them, you know how we did the wealth dynamics and we got them to video their best experience when they took the wealth dynamics test, right? What happens instead of running a live call, the next step is actually for them to record a video that and drop it onto your Facebook page or something like that of what their biggest takeaways were, and there'd be a prize to win or something from that, right? Or something which gets them to take an action, right? Because to be honest, right, I think here Diana's got some stuff about networking, which how do I find the right referrals and that kind of stuff. But I think one of the things in the women community is that not necessarily that they're trying to make money off other people or get referrals or stuff like that. They're trying to find a tribe that they're connected in.
They belong to.
That
Right?
they
That's
belong.
why women come to GFU. They say, oh, this is my soul tribe. This is like, I'm here for life. Finally, I found something for my soul.
Right. So it's more of a soul tribe than an actual financial benefit or referral benefit, because that comes from it. Yes. But there's something that for me, if you were, I mean, maybe the other ladies over here can drop in the chat what they think. If I was to be invited to a session where I can just babble and listen to other people babble, personally, as a mechanic, I would be, I'm not going to come because I actually can't take it. Yes. But I know that your dynamos and your supporters would probably want to do that. Yeah. So potentially you want to be filtering out the clients to give them the right experience. So maybe you should start be priming ChatGPT based on their profile, right? Because you've given them an assessment or something that they're going to do the superpower test, right?
Some of them we will have, some of them we will not. But yeah, for some of them we have.
Yeah. So potentially based on what is your superpower, your result sends you to a particular thing, right? So you could actually do that, which would save you time, because I think one of the challenges is, Bayer, for me, is that what we do in all of our events and stuff like that is we have one blanket fits for all.
No.
Yeah. So what happens if you've spent all this time doing the superpower quiz? So maybe it's about asking ChatGPT, are you aware of this superpower quiz? How could I add value to each of these 4 areas of these things, right? You know, the same way as I primed for wealth dynamics or Kawa primed for, you know, I don't know if you watched Roger doing it the other day. Michelle's a supporter profile. What does she need, right? Same thing. You could potentially do that and direct them off dependent on their superpower. So if they're blazers, then they want to come and talk about it. And they maybe want to do a video. If they're dynamos, maybe it's about you understand where I'm going with this, because I think
Yeah, if they're dynamos, they just love more learning and more information and more growth, right? They just like love that.
yeah. And I mean, then your traders are slightly different. And then your steals are also slightly different. I mean, one thing that I actually used on the City Leader call yesterday is I went through the different energies, because your stuff applies to men as well, right? The ego trap of deficiency and stuff,
Yeah.
it can, right?
Yeah, no, it's for everyone. It's human.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So, when you actually tailor things for a specific drive, then you can potentially your next step here is to prime it a little bit more about the 4 superpowers. And then what is a value add for each of those superpowers?
Okay. That's great. How do I prime it for the superpowers? Has everyone done it?
Kawa, you've done it?
Yeah.
Your
Yeah,
suggestion?
actually,
Okay, can you just guide me? Because I think this is valuable for everyone.
I'm building
right?
my brand. I'm building my brands using both like Genius U,
Or shall I give it?
and my StarCraft. It knows about the wealth dynamics, so you can just like ask it knows about wealth dynamics.
Or shall I put there the content of our reports for the superpower test? Because then I'll prime it for women. Or how should I prime it?
You can ask it if it knows. Just ask, do you know about
Diffuse superpower test or whatever you call it, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, that's a good question. Hang on.
I think it's always good also to feed it information, Belle. So just section by section, start adding in there. This is the output, and then let it. So it's definitely feed it information.
So I need to feed it. So maybe I'll go to the reports and then just say, this is the report for this superpower, so 4 reports.
Is it any different from wealth dynamics?
Yeah, we have our designated superpower.
You should definitely.
It comes from the Genius test, but it's adjusted for women with our language.
So what I would do is I would definitely say, okay, it sounds like great. It is an assessment which it does 4 main superpowers. These are the 4 main superpowers. So you're priming it a bit better because clearly it doesn't have enough information here, right? So maybe type that in here and say, great, but it's based on 4 main superpowers, right? While you're busy typing, Stacey and Sandy, I know, Stacey, your camera's off and Sandy is yours is on and Sandy is off. Your question was really around leveraging community awards to attract more attention. Have you tried putting some of these questions into ChatGPT while we're sitting here and seeing what it's giving you?
I did. I did the one that was specific to the Herrera Psychology side of the business. And so I just said, good morning, my business is Herrera Psychology, has recently been recognized in this magazine for best mental health services in our community. How do I share this information to engage parents of school-age children to access our psychological services? They said, congratulations. And then I took your suggestion. So it gave me 5 different options. And then I said, okay, great. Can you create a timeline over the next 4 weeks to implement these suggestions? And so they broke it down week 1 with the press release, week 2 with the dedicated website, all of these things. And then I said, great, thank you. Can you provide a sample of a press release to send in week 1? And it was like, oh yeah, here you go. All there.
Okay, so this is the thing, guys. So Bear, in your one, I know you're busy typing at the moment, but definitely I would say this is the link to my assessment, right? And I would actually say it's based on Roger James Hamilton's Genius test, Entrepreneur Genius test. So guys are more specific. So in your test, Sandy and Stacey, you've also got a test, right? So you can use, this is my test, this is specific around this. So Bea, I know you stopped sharing, but I'm kind of getting other people to interact and see what
Yeah, for sure.
Happening. But it's definitely super important because another thing also, Sandy, is maybe to say something around, what has worked really well for awards or nomination ceremonies based on these kind of things? Is there any, do you have any information on that? But you'd probably need to prime it a little bit better. So go in a little bit before and say what we're planning to do is to engage our community and get new clients and schools in because we want to do this to solve this problem. This is what we were thinking, right? And then like prime it in that space. So try and pop that because I like the press release thing because you guys are doing speaking gigs. Yeah. And then I would break down each week after that. So what else can we do to attract more clients or to do more things there? Yeah. So asking that question. I mean, Sharon is not on the call today, but in her space, the question's exactly what is example of a customer journey for a wellness consultant with an avatar that's a corporation, right? Honestly, I would just go into ChatGPT and ask it, right? And come up with the same thing, but it's about priming. So this is what we're trying to learn today. The more you ask a better question, the more information you get. And then guys, it's not about one thing. I would go against saying is using everything that ChatGPT does, because you're starting to sound the same. So Bea, I'll tell you this, I noticed that, you know, I'd done some stuff for you for GFU for a post or whatever, and Joe Formosa posted something around the summit, right? She actually, the post that she posted was something that came out on ChatGPT when I'd done it, right? So careful that you're not sounding like a bot. So remember to put your own things into it when you're promoting stuff, and you are yourself still, because your clients still want humans, yes? And that there's still a differential. So what is it that you're going to take out of this that you still make magic on your own, but you use it as a tool that helps you gain more knowledge and get smarter? And, you know, potentially, like in Donna's case, what we've done is we've got this assessment as well, right? What we've decided to do is to do a debrief afterwards. Do you have any other suggestions to add value to clients before they do a debrief? Do you see what I mean? You could use it to prompt in a couple of things and a couple of steps in your customer journey with regards to these assessments. Yeah, potentially. Okay. Sandy, are you playing with it? You testing it?
Oh, sorry about the Joe. So we sent her the text, right? Like as a speaker, we sent her the text. So
no, I know, but I typed into ChatGPT 2 days before. So all I'm saying is that there's very similar wording, right? When you're priming it, it can remember stuff that other people are also doing, right? So
couldn't it be that I primed it 2 weeks ago and then it remembered,
exactly.
and then you got that because I was
something.
priming it for the last 3 weeks, right?
Exactly.
Teaching it about our summit and the speakers and
exactly. All I'm saying is that, you know, like when I typed it in, I got similar kind of like wording, and I was like, ooh, this was a ChatGPT, right? So it's not in a bad way. I'm not saying it's a bad way. I'm just saying be careful by all our priming that when we give content to our clients to use on our behalf, that it doesn't sound like that. Yeah, it's just a suggestion.
Yeah, but then when you work with the this is an interesting question. When we're working with ChatGPT and then we're working on a text, right? And then we run it in the end, like, you know, what do you think? Do you want us to enhance it? And they said, no, it's like you've changed it well, but it stays in the system, doesn't it? So when you type in, you're getting my prime, because actually it's the same person, isn't it? It's not like millions ChatGPTs. There is one serving everyone else, and we all priming it. Right?
Exactly.
So you wrote about the genius is primed, right?
So it's not a bad thing, Bad. This is why the questions you're putting into it, and each time you're asking it for an output, that's where the uniqueness comes in, because it's remembering everything that we're putting in. So every time I do something on Wealth Dynamics, Kawa does something on Wealth Dynamics, if I go back, it's going to pull this information and bring it to the point, which is good in one way, but it also means that you have to put a bit more effort in when you're doing stuff, right? Because in the beginning of time, we could have just said, can you draft me an email? And nobody would have noticed the difference. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying. Be conscious of it.
That's another side product. I'm learning, right? All of us priming. So
yeah,
I put it here and I said, what is the example of customer journey after the summit to add more value for the summit participants based on their superpower? Is that the right prime?
I would have potentially put what the 4 superpowers are. You see here, look at the answers. Go to the answers of what it's told you. You've put a bit there, but I've put a bit more meat behind it. Do you understand the Roger Hamilton's genius test of Dynamo Blaze? Do you understand the 4 profiles? Our superpower is related on those 4, and what makes it different is. Do you see what I mean? Because here, it's just giving you the same stuff it gave you before, superpower, email.
Yeah, I know.
So do you see when you ask a question that's not great, it's going to give you
a
non-great answer.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll just have to prime it more. That's it.
Just play around with it. Because I think your customer journey in your space is definitely linked into the superpower. You've done all this work on the superpower, and I think you're missing a trick.
Mhm. Yeah.
So personally, I would say, what can I add value in the superpower of, however you're calling it, right?
Oh, okay. So how can I add value to the women who participate at the summit who have this superpower after? Okay, got it. So I need to prime it and then ask it the right question, because it's definitely different for Katrina than it is for Sandy or or someone who is Blaze, right?
Exactly. That's the point. So now what's happening, it's giving you a generic. You can see the answers are coming as very generic. It's very similar to what you got before.
Yeah, exactly. That's not very helpful. Yeah.
So it's based on there's 4 different superpowers. Okay, so it's almost like starting. Here's Roger James Hamilton's Genius Test. We built an assessment based on this, which is a superpower test, which comes out with the following 4. These are what these mean, right? And now what value can I add to these? So that's how I would have primed it to move forward, because what is the differential in value? Because what you're telling me is everything is value add for the same way. Everybody's going to go into a group. Everybody's going to get an email. Everybody's going to do this. But potentially, Baya, this is what ChatGPT is telling you. So you know what a standard journey looks like, right?
Yeah.
It's given you the next 12 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it gave you. So you could break that down into superpowers, and then you could go and say, this is great, but what happens if my superpower was steal, however you're wording it, right? And these are the following things. How could I add value to that evolutionary woman with that superpower?
Okay.
Well, more uniquely tailored or something.
Yeah. So I'll be very curious to hear Katrina, because Katrina is a Lord, right? Is it the Lord? Katrina, when you come to the connection, what is valuable for you? For me, it's such a different world to understand the steel, right? Like, what will be valuable for you when you are still and you come and you evolution, you're entrepreneur, you want to connect and grow and make a difference? It's a question for Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Can you ask a question again? I'm a mechanic. So also still
sorry, mechanic.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
So what's valuable for you when you come to summits that really connects to your purpose, right? And it inspires you. What's the value added for you to build more trust with the community after the summit as a mechanic?
Now, I think that's a good question. I kind of have to attend the summit first.
But generally, right, when you come to summits, what's valuable for you?
The way that I guess as a mechanic, whenever I go to any kind of event, not just summit, I always look at the structure of how it is built and how it's run. So the value that I would try to get from it, because I come there to learn on how to run an event and what I would get out of it so that I can improve the way that I'm building my business. And I'm also improving the way that, the way that I am basically creating my own classes, my own workshop, my own summit in the future, maybe. So that's how I would look at a summit or any event that I go to.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Did I answer your question?
Yeah. Well, you shared your intention, so that's clear.
So Donna is a Lord. So that's how she quickly went chick, 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 and sent you Lordy steal stuff straight in the chat. But yeah,
I've got square glasses. I was on a Genius meeting a while back, and they said anyone that wears square glasses is always a Lord. And I was like, oh my God, that is true.
I don't know if that's true.
I was on a Zoom with someone else the other day, and they got square glasses on, and then they said they were a Lord, and I was like, I already knew, because I think for me, I think the question was, what value would I want as a Lord after the event? And I think because your event is all about being belonging to a community, I think for me, I would like to have support after the meeting by way of a Facebook community page or something like that, or some kind of online community where you can message people quickly and you know that they're there just on the other end of the phone by a message is probably what I would like.
So I think it's potentially, what you could also do is you could actually ask the community, right? Everybody who's come to the summit, tell us what you want to see afterwards and get entered into a draw for something, right? You really think out of the box when you're coming to these kind of things, because like I would, instead of them just sending a straight email, say, thank you for attending, here's the recording. I would say, hey guys, amazing superpower came to this thing. Who was your favorite? Complete this. Who was your favorite speaker? Who was your what was your biggest takeaway? And what would you like to see tomorrow that will help you on your next steps? Right. You could give them a flow consultant. You guys have got so many flow consultant places between you and Jan. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? You could give them something as a prize of a product if you wanted. You could give them a free place in your 2-week micro school. There's so many things that you do, right? But I think it needs to be tailored to the particular woman and their superpower. And I think that's where the trick is missing, because we're going general and we're not actually using that superpower to quiz enough.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Thank you.
Cool. Sandy, I think it was potentially, or it was Stacey, I don't know whose question it was, about the best streamlined team resources, tools, hacks. Did you plug something into ChatGPT? Because I did. Did you plug something in? Did you get any results?
I hadn't done that yet. I was still playing with the Trusted School Awards and
okay.
Timeline and customer journey.
I didn't really prime it a lot. So I'll share this with you. Obviously, I'll drop it in the chat. I didn't prime it a ton, right? But what I definitely did here was I just said, now why is this not working? Oh, I don't know what's going on here. I just put your straight question. I didn't prime it at all, right? And I just bombed it in and it said here, okay, here are key features to tools, effective task assignments, deadline tracking, file sharing, collaboration, visual boards, integration, reporting, right? Okay. So I've said, what are the best AI tools that will help my team in the above points? And you can see here, then what it does is it goes and drops here a few examples. So this is maybe not what you wanted to do, or you could say, I use monday.com. Well, how could I use it more effectively? A virtual assistant like Google Assist or Amazon Alexa, whatever, chatbots, workflow, data analytics, language translation. Do you see what I mean? So again, just keep priming it a bit more, right? Because then what I would do in this space is I would say, okay, around task automation, right? I have got Monday, or I can't remember, Stacey, what you had, because you guys are combining. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. Everybody's got different tools nowadays. You got to remember all the blooming things. So we're moving from Monday to Asana. The features of Monday that we loved were the following, and this really helped us manage the task automation. What should we use on Asana for the same effect, right? Or are we? You see what I'm saying? So you can actually ask it these kind of questions. Yes. I mean, personally, I don't think you need a virtual assistant. Maybe you do, but I don't know. I would rather, maybe you do. But I think you've got enough team to be, I think you've got people who can schedule your stuff or your diary. I'm not sure if you have humans, but if you don't, then you could use those. Here, it's also got Microsoft Cortana, right? Yeah. Yeah. If you're linked into Microsoft, I don't know.
Well, actually, I just signed up last night for the free trial of Motion, because the ad keeps popping up everywhere in my world because it's listening to my thoughts. So and everyone's nodding. It's creepy, right? And so I'm testing it, and I really like how it breaks down tasks, and it's got, Monday capacities built in there. It's got scheduling. It's like taking Calendly and Monday and my Gmail calendar and combining them all into one. So I'm testing it for the next 7 days to see if it's going to work. And I can do a whole team version of it. So I invited Raina late last night. She's probably already seen it. But one of the things that I don't know is when it comes to Stacey's practice is she has to be really careful about HIPAA compliance, right? And so using some AI tools, like she can't, because on her calendar, she has client names and things like that. And so that can't be connected to. So how do we navigate that? Is that something we can, the answer is yes. How do we prime and ask ChatGPT that in an efficient way so that it doesn't give us the
Well, I think the priming questions would be really like, one of which are the tools I can use that have a stronger AI and GDPR rules, things attached to it. So like what you're putting into it. So the systems that I have to use for my practice because of this, this, and this are related to the rules, these following rules. Are you aware of these rules? Yes, I'm aware of these rules. So which AI tools could I use that could help me with this particular automation that is compliant? You see what I mean? So it's just the phrasing, what would be compliant? I mean, personally in Stacey's world, I definitely would still have potentially an attorney or somebody looking over things like that, right? Because I don't know enough about that part, right? So Stacey, definitely be careful about it. I mean, prime it so that you're a little bit more informed, but you've got to have some kind of consultant, a legal consultant on board because of the specific space you're in, right? So don't can that super quickly. But it's definitely, guys, what I'm trying to get to here is this can save you a lot of time, but it can also be too generic. So careful that you're not being lazy with it and you're just pushing a question in and hoping to pop out an answer. You actually have to put some work into these things, and use it effectively, because I think it's a great tool. For me, I think that it's really helped in a couple of spaces, specifically, what are the most relevant hashtags for this topic, right? When you're doing social media stuff, because I don't know them, right? So those kind of things. And it does help. I mean, Kawa's used it a lot with his journeys. I think in some of the journeys that I've requested, here or there, I think it can make it, you can make it, but I think you need to ask more questions and you do need to put things into it so that it pops out stuff that gives you this value add, right? So
I have a weird technical question about it because I haven't used it enough. I'm always like, I feel like I need to hurry like a chat bot before they go away or it times out. I don't know what. Like I feel this I'm like, oh my God, I gotta come up with a better question. Hurry before it goes away. So it's like this undercurrent when I'm working with it. So what is I mean, you keep talking about how it remembers. Does it remember all the past chats you did because it's connected to your whole thing, or is it always query? How do you say that word? A new thing.
On the left-hand side. Look here.
Yeah. So I see those, but I'm wondering, so does it store that information? Do I have to prime it every time if I keep going back to the same topic, or do we?
No. So I've primed it slightly differently, for example, on different things. So if I've done wealth dynamics and stuff, wealth flow, things like that, I don't have to keep priming it, right? Once it's remembered something. Yes, but what you do want to do is just make sure you can see, like here, I did a couple of things here. Give me a most relevant paragraph. We're running a master class and I want this to be more relevant. This looks a bit math, and it, so I play around with it all the time. Yeah, I actually have two accounts. I have one in my Genius U account and one in my personal. And in my personal one, I keep it related to Michelle is your coach and everything around that. So I've asked for posts or carousels, ideas for carousels, that kind of stuff, So it does remember and it does actually keep that information. Because what I tried the other day is I was like, okay, do you remember what I wrote the last time about a star? Yes. And it actually regurgitated the same thing. So you can play around, right? But the other thing is that sometimes I've noticed that the weaker your question, the weaker the pop out is. Of course.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, don't rush it. It's actually fun, right? there's no person sitting with like anything trying to rush you to go forward on this thing.
It's like talk to it like a human, but it's not a human.
Exactly. So, give yourself at least, like when I was working on a couple of things for wording for a particular thing, whatever, and I didn't quite like it. So I went back and I asked it again. So give yourself some time, Sandy. So if you only have 30 minutes, it's not, like I would say, this is like in your businesses, you have the strategy planning side, you have this thinking of what is your plan and where are you going and what are the next steps and what am I going to be doing and where am I going with this thing, right? And I take little components of it. So I was working on what is my customer's problem, for example, right? And what were the layers of the problems? And then I was like, well, what are the solutions that I could offer for these different things? So I spent a whole morning on it, right? But I allocated my time to it because it saves me later on. So don't rush it. That's all I'm saying. Because if you rush it, you're going to pop in stupid questions. And with all due respect, this system, if you pop it a stupid question, it's going to give you a stupid answer.
Got it.
You know where they say there's no stupid answer? It's not true, because it can give you a bit of a, like the other day, I pissed myself laughing. There was something, I can't remember, Carl and I were talking about it, but there was something that popped out that I was like, I just laughed my head off, because I was like, honestly, that's ridiculous. So just spend a bit of time with it. Give yourself the room to play. Don't rush it, but prime it properly. Even if you do a little bit today and you prime it again tomorrow, you ask one, I often come back the next day. My best at playing on this is Saturday mornings when Mela sleeps till 11 and I sit and I play with my questions and I'm like pushing around here and I'm asking these different things, because I sit like, yeah, where the wind's blowing, the sun's in my face and nobody is bothering me, right? So choose the time that you do it, but definitely use it. Yeah. Okay, so guys, next week, because this is also around mentoring and stuff and what's going on and things like that. So what we want to be making sure is that you guys have got something together for a kind of plan, right? So next week, what I'd like to see, we're in week 9, is I'd like to see a bit of a presentation schedule, right? So each one of you guys is going to do a bit of a role play on what's going on in your thing. So whether you are sharing your plan for the next quarter, or you are talking to me about your email or conversations or something, each one of you is going to have an opportunity to present next week. You choose what you're going to be presenting. And whether it's your plan, whether it's your awards, whether you want feedback, and the group is going to be voting and giving you feedback, right, in the chat. So this is going to be fun. So those of you that don't want to attend, please don't attend. You're getting a week's warning, but everybody is going to be presenting. Everybody that's going to attend the call is going to do some kind of presentation of what they've learned, what they're applying in their business, anything you would like to present. That is what we're doing next week, because we need to get your plans up and ready. We need to make sure that you guys are working on stuff, that you're getting results, that it's not just learning. We want to be earning also. So what are we doing? And I'd like to get the sharing energy into the room and get some like vibiness. So each person will be responsible for a presentation, whatever that looks like to you. Yeah. You can even ask ChatGPT, what should I be presenting in Michelle's gap class next week?
And we will all get the same answer, and then we will come with the same presentation because we primed it the same.
That'll be hysterical, because the next week after that, you've actually got Michelle Clark. So she would like to see the results. So this is preparing you for Michelle Clark, right? So Michelle Clark wants to see, what have you done in the quarter? What are the highlights? What are the challenges? What has worked? What has not worked, right? What does your plan look like? What has been going on? Yeah. So you can get a couple of insights from that. So exciting times. Is everybody going to be ready for this, right? Yes. Whoop, whoop. Diane's going to go first next week, right? So just so that you know, because she's the most excited, Rosaline. So you're making notes who's going first in case I forget. So Diane is first. Who's second? Don't all jump at once, because you're going to get to go.
Stacey and I'll go second. Stacey and I'll go second.
Okay, you two are going second.
Which means I'm going second.
Next to each other on my side, so you're that way and she's next to you over there. It's kind of
She's
funny.
down below for me.
All right, Kawa, you're going to present third, because we've got to put a bit of male energy in there. All right, Katrina, are you going to present something? Because I'd like to see something from your guys' side. What you're doing, where you're at.
Next week I'll be in Utah for a leadership retreat from my end.
Okay.
So it's going to be 8:00 a.m. my time. So I'm going to have to check with my retreat schedule to see what time we're starting. So I don't know if I'm going to be here yet.
Okay, no worries. If you are here, then you will go next. If you're not here, then it will be Donna. And if then Stephanie, are you Donna's team?
Stephanie and Rena are with us.
Oh, those are your team. Okay.
Okay,
And
I can go after Donna.
Yeah, then Bea can go after Donna, and then Violetta can go after Bea. All right.
Okay, good.
Good call.
We've got the order.
All right. So guys, let's go around the room and definitely what was your biggest takeaway from today? So Donna, let's start with you.
I think definitely spelling it out to Chat GPT, because I always ask it top level questions and then I don't seem to go down many more levels after that. I kind of just take the first answer that it's given me. I think I just got to get away from just using it like Google, really. I think I'm just so used to just putting one question into Google and then getting the answer. So that's just to keep reminding myself to try and delve more into it.
Yeah, because I think it'll give you more value. And I think you'll
Yeah.
potentially get more out of it. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Kawa, your side, what was your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, it's continued using ChatGPT and yeah, I need to ask more, like instead of like when you're not available. I saw it this morning, like what should I do with the event I have to report, and it gave me a good suggestion, like, oh, you should do it virtually, like you said yesterday. And yeah, it was so keep using it.
Yeah, keep using it. But also, you know, like it's actually fun and you're doing well. I think don't take it.
Yeah. I'm looking at I think I'm going to create I'm looking at creating a report that I could do given the virtual about wealth dynamics and going, because I've been going into that with the ChatGPT, and it knows a lot of stuff.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Cool. Diane.
Well, be careful about being too enthusiastic. No, actually, I think it's, I am definitely going to put in my calendar regular chat time, like so that I'm just going to be consistently using it, priming it. There's always something to do with it. So I'm going to have it in my calendar so that I actually am doing it.
Awesome. That'll be cool. All right. Stacey. Almost I call you Dr. Stacey, Dr. S.
Yeah. Whatever you prefer. No, I appreciate the nudge and the exercise in priming and really giving it enough data to spit out useful information. And then the idea of asking it for a timeline, I think is really valuable in what we're putting together as we're trying to manage multiple priorities. So thank you.
Yeah, it's definitely great at setting structure and timelines, right? I have to get the following done. I only have 10 weeks. What do you suggest? It's actually very good like that. And it breaks it down quite nicely. So it does help with some things, definitely. So try, let me know. Okay, Sandy.
Yeah, all of the things that everyone's shared, and being able to go that layer deeper and really even ask like what additional value can be provided, you know, based upon what's most relevant in the world right now. So, you know, I started kind of adding in those details and really just allowing my train of thought to continue asking it questions and using it almost as a thought partner. To then go, yeah, I like that one. No, you know, that's a little weird, but I'll, you know, and not feel like I'm diminishing the person on the other end of the phone and being like, your idea sucks. I can tell ChatGPT their idea sucks, and I can, you know, ask a different question, you know, ask a better question, ask a different way. And I really appreciate the nudges to keep having the conversation with ChatGPT and really building that depth of wisdom in the portal, right, that you're creating.
Because all of us are super, you know, guys, we have a higher level of awareness and consciousness, and we're trying to make a change in the world. And if we prime this better and we put better content into it, we've got better outcomes, right? So we want to be contributing to things like this. And I think it's an exciting time, because the more we contribute, the more our messages are going out, because it's in there, right? The positive, the good messages, that's what we're getting at, right? Bea?
Yeah, it's working with the Chat GPT on as like upping our level, instead of just using as a copyright, is actually like almost like a business advisor or colleague advisor, right? Like a mastermind. It's like, okay, so I haven't thought about asking me, like Jan started playing with it this week, but I haven't connected to Sami, like asking for the journey, the timeline, the customer journey, and much more business practical thing instead of just a text for promotion. So it's just like another level. And I'm going to download the information to the chat about the evolutionary port, the evolutionary keys, and all the unique distinctions for each profile as well. So then we can really connect it to the energies. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it'll be good. And I think you'll get a lot out of that. Katrina?
Everybody kind of mentioned about it already, about priming ChatGPT. And I think it's important because sometimes use it like, getting the first answer. And I think that's good enough, but it does sound kind of like a bot. But also thank you, Bear, for sharing the point of view from your summit, because that is something that we are doing in our community as well. So we've been kind of focusing on the Genius tests, and so we've been sharing information about the Genius test so people be aware of it, so that when we have classes, they would understand more of where they're at, and then it's easier to follow up with them. So I came to this meeting today, kind of had a question about following up, but after hearing Michelle kind of went through with your session, I learned what I need to do for following up with my attendees to our master classes. So thank you for that.
Awesome. That's good. You can definitely do many things, right? You don't have to do the same structure. You don't have to have the same idea. You can say, look, I don't like your idea. Give me another one. I've done that, and it pops out different things. And it's important to do that because you don't want to accept the first thing. You want to be different, and you want to, what's going to make ours unique? This is what we are unique about, and this is what we want to try and get there. So tell it a message, and it's a cool thing because you'll get some good stuff. Yeah. Stephanie, are you just listening, or are you going to give what your biggest takeaway was?
She's also responsible for answering the phones. So
All
she
right. Okay, so I'm going to pause. She can drop it in the chat. And I know, Violetta, you dropped in a little bit late, so I'm not sure if you got very much takeaway from this. Did you get anything out of this call? Because you only came in for the last 20 minutes or so, I think.
I was driving. Actually, I tried to join audio. Somehow, whenever I try to join just audio, I get kicked out. So I don't know why. Yeah, I just listened to the later part of the conversation. I just heard you say there are stupid offers. So I do believe that offer. That's my struggle, is how to make my offer compelling. I'll keep working on that.
So potentially put it in there. Say, this is my first thinking. Do you have any suggestions to improve it? So use ChatGPT. It might come up because a lot of people are using this. And then you can come back to the table and we can add something and have a conversation in this forum. Because look, guys, this is possibly something I've tried. It hasn't worked so well. Bear's tried it. Kawa's tried it. These things are not working. But, definitely, take a look at what's there. Okay. And last but not least, Rosaline, your biggest takeaway from today?
I've been playing around with ChatGPT, so I liked to see the different angles that were being covered. So yeah, and I like to ask questions. So yeah, I'll be using it a lot more.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to pop out. You guys might get a ChatGPT crystal circle thing.
I agree with you.
All right, guys, go and have an amazing day. I wish you all the best, and go and get the wins that you need. Be amazing. Have fun while you're doing this. Everything is changing. The energies are around. Out with the old, in with the new. Death, rebirth, mix. So go and get the right things through these solar eclipses at the moment, and go and work for it, right? Go and get what you need. Put your intention out there, what it is you're going to do. What is it that you want to see? And I wish you the best of luck for the rest of the week. And thanks for coming.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.